The Plucky Squire. Dave, I want to say this game is looks awesome. I'm excited about this one.
Are you excited about this
This
one?
one is really fun looking. There's some little quirks that I wish that it could be different, but other than that, it's very fun looking, and we can kind of jump into it. Dave, I'll let you kick it off here. You want me to pull up the trailer?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull up the trailer. I'm absolutely ecstatic that you are excited about this game. So, guys, if you guys don't know, the game is called the Plucky Squire. It will drop on the Switch very, very soon, September 17th. And I think one thing that's really cool about this game that is really kind of making it very unique and very stand out is this ability that we're going to see in the trailer here in a couple seconds of going from 2D to 3D in the same video game, which
Yeah, I
is
thought that was really cool. That was why I think I really liked it.
yeah, it's just such a unique idea. So right now, if you guys are just listening, we're watching the trailer, and the trailer is showing an open book on this kid's table. So the kid's name is Sam. You can think of Sam as like Andy from Toy Story, and you're playing as Jot, which is the character in his favorite book. And you can see that we're playing through all of these scenes in the book, and it's giving me very much like Zelda vibes, like original Zelda vibes. Are you getting that same kind of feel?
I was getting a little bit of Zelda vibes, but also a little bit like especially the 2D aspect,
Yeah.
Castle Crashers. Like I got a little Castle Crashers a little bit with it.
Yeah, yeah. And the cool thing right now, if you guys are again are just listening, we're seeing what's called portals. And the portals are basically these green circles that are kind of all over the map, and that's what allows you to jump from 2D to 3D. And it's really cool because you're 2D in the book, you jump 3D outside of the book.
Yeah.
But then when you're in, I almost said Andy's room. When you're in Sam's room, there's abilities for you to jump back into the 2D. So like we saw him hanging on the thing, and he went 2D across like the banners that the kid has hung up, and it's just a really kind of interesting idea, and I'm excited to see how this is all gonna work.
Totally agree. And I think again why this game kind of stuck out to me is it's a concept that you haven't seen before. It's a concept that one is kind of a simple design in a way. Like I don't know why people haven't thought about doing something like this in the past, unless I'm just completely missed it and there has been a game like this. But overall, it looks fresh. It looks fun. And we always talk about like these small games, like when they bring the fresh feel to it, that's what makes them fun. And this one is definitely has that freshness to it. And
I think you did miss one actually, and I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a free pass on it because I'm old, unlike you. This and older fans might recognize this. This is a lot like Paper Mario. This is a lot, yeah. This is a lot like Paper Mario, where you had the ability to kind of go from 3D. And then, in order to solve puzzles, you had to jump to 2D and kind of like walk around walls and stuff like that. But I think this game takes that idea and just elevates it to the next level. Like in Paper Mario is very linear because it came out in like the N64 era. So it's a very linear experience. This is much more of a free roam. And I don't want to say it's like an open world because it's definitely a linear experience. But the ability to move around through Sam's room almost does give it like that kind of open world experience. It's almost like a linear and an open world experience at the same time because you're bouncing in and out of these two different dimensions, which just the possibilities here are just kind of endless. I think it's gonna be really interesting and really fun to play.
story wise, the whole premise with the story, it's pretty simple to be honest. It's not anything groundbreaking in terms of the story.
Yeah,
The villainous character, Malevolent. How do you want to say that? Malevolent?
malevolent, I believe.
Malevolent? There's only one L though. Malevolent. Unless I
Mallow.
unless I mistyped it. It could be Malevolent. I don't know. Whatever. The antagonist
Let
realizes
us know.
that
Let us know
yeah,
in the comments.
yeah,
Go ahead and roast us in the comments.
yeah,
We
yeah.
deserve it. First episode back, guys. First
Yeah,
episode back.
yeah. Give us some slack. He realizes that he's the villain of the book and is destined to lose his battle against the good guys. So the good guys being Jot and his friends. And so what he does is kicks Jot out of the pages and causes changes to the story. And Jot's like quest and overall goal is to kind of restore the story and defeat Malevolence.
And a couple of things about how the game is going to work because I did mention it does remind me of Zelda, specifically Link to the Past. It kind of looks like to me. Um, you're going to have this kind of 2D, 3D thing like Paper Mario, but when you're within the game, like when you're within the book, you get that top-down look that looks a lot like Zelda. And the combat that I've seen so far from the trailer and gameplay does look a lot like Zelda. So much so that you get obviously your weapon's a sword, so a lot like the Master Sword. You get the sword spin, which we've seen in Ocarina. You get the sword throw, which is kind of like the full health attack in the original Legend of Zelda, where you can kind of like shoot it across the screen. And I thought it was really cool that you can throw the sword into stuff and it will like stick, and then you can like pull it back, kind of like Thor's hammer. You can pull it back. Yeah, I thought that was really really cool. And then moving throughout the book, it's really cool that when you get to like the edge of the screen, the page just kind of flips for you. So yeah, so you can control throughout the pages, and say you walk, off to the right, the page will turn to really give you that immersive, like you're in the book kind of vibe. And I just think they did a really really great job and like attention to detail on it. Super super cool. And something really interesting is that the things that you do within each of these dimensions affects what happens in the other dimension. So the idea of jumping through back and forth throughout the book actually serves a purpose. And one of the examples that they gave was there's like a page in the book where there's this rotating saw. Um, and you need to stop the saw blade from spinning so that you can get to the next page. Well, in order to do that, you needed to jump outside of the book, find a specific item that you need to bring back in with you into the book, and then stop the saw. So like the things that you're doing, there's reasons to jump back and forth in and out of these two worlds, and the things that you do in each world affects how the other dimension operates.
The way I'm kind of thinking of it now is, so you almost like, it's almost like you're reading the book and you can't just like jump out and jump to the next page. Like you have to like progress the story and connect the story in terms of like, okay, so we're at this page, but we can't get past because like we're stuck in this part of the story because it's missing part of the story, and like the saw is like will be turned off by this piece. That's really cool and a cool concept with that. I didn't think about that because my thought was like, okay, let's just jump out of this page and jump to the next page. But so that's kind of cool that they're connecting it in the sense that you have to connect pieces from each world. So I like that a lot, actually.
It's a lot of interconnectivity. So it gives you a reason to jump back and forth out of the book, because the idea of going 2D to 3D is cool, but if there's no reason for you to do it, then like if the main story only took place within the book, a lot of people would probably jump in and out maybe a few times, but then just get focused on the main story. You know what I mean? This gives you that reason. And the things that you can do when you're outside of the book in the 3D realm, we've seen a lot of stuff. So if you look at the trailer, like there's obvious platforming sections, but there's parts where like he has a jetpack, like he what I mean, like there's things outside of the world that make the gameplay slightly different that are going to work within like the platforming of the game. So I think it's everything you do is going to feel like fresh and new. And I don't think you're going to get bored with it. Like we saw a lot of stuff. Obviously there's going to be platforming, obviously there's going to be puzzle solving, the combat we talked about, but we've also seen like little mini games too. So if you look at the trailer, there's that mini game where like you're boxing, and then there's a mini game where you're like,
Look like a Candy Crush kind of thing.
yeah, and then there's a mini game where you're shooting arrows, like an archery thing. So I mean, there's the variety of things that you're going to be able to do in the game, plus this 2D 3D jump aspect. I mean, it just feels like a game that you're never going to get bored of, and you're going to get new things along the way as you progress. I don't think it's a game that's ever going to feel like stale. You know what I mean?
The concept is so like unique, but it also like looks fluid too.
Yeah.
The game itself, like watching the trailer, it didn't look like it was kind of like a glitchy switch between. It feels like when you go from 2D to 3D, it definitely has that fluid feel to it. And then even with like the mini games, it seems like the transition from the normal walking through into the mini game is a good transition. It's not just a, all right, here's a cutscene now mini game. It feels like it switches well into these different types of flying with a jetpack or boxing and the puzzles. And I really like the puzzle aspect where I don't know if you saw in the trailer or if anybody else saw in the trailer that where you can move the words around. So it said like staircase, but and you had to move it to like you had to move the words to change what's in the book to help guide through the next part of the story. And I thought that was really cool. Like it's really playing on this aspect of like you really are in a book, and to fix the book, you have to actually change words around and bring stuff from the outside into the book. It's really neat.
We just talked about with this relaxing vibe of the games, right? I feel like this is going to be one of those games. Like this is going to be a chill, relaxing, fun game where like I realize that there's combat in here, but we're not talking like Dark Souls level bosses here, guys. We're talking like, you got a couple little minions that you want to hit with your sword, but this is mostly going to be like a puzzle solving kind of fun platforming mini game style thing, like something you could just throw on and just kick back on the couch and just kill a couple hours having a good time. And it does look really, really polished.
One thing that I thought this game specifically could do really well with, and just kind of based off what you see with the trailer, I really think this could have been a fun couch co op. Like a game where you can kind of sit back and relax. And I know it's one of those, like, it's a single player, just you want a single player adventure game, but the way it's kind of set up, and like even with like the characters' friends, like Jot's friends, like they're all four on the screen at once and they kind of move along. And I'm like, how cool would it be to like jump in and out like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles situation where like press start and I'm playing with you. Like I thought that would be really fun, but other than that, I feel like the game looks really fluid.
I'm not gonna like, honestly, I hate being kind of chalk and just like, totally agreeing about because I feel like we're on the same page with like every aspect of this game. But I totally agree, dude. Like, how fun would it be? Like, there's four characters there. How fun would it be to have a second player? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I do agree with that, and maybe it's something that they'll add in the future. I don't know, but maybe it's just time constraints or like system constraints with the Switch or something like that. But
And it's not a make or break thing. I just felt like it's a game that, to me, like I said at the beginning, it feels like Castle Crashers. And Castle Crashers is one of those games where you can just jump in with like four friends and just hack and slash through and complete these puzzles together. I wonder if that has something to do with it, like trying to complete the puzzles. Like those are more like one person focused. But I don't know. I do. That's my only minor complaint of the game, but doesn't mean it's going to make it a bad game if I can't play with my friends. And truthfully, I don't have a friends that might not play with me anyway. So,
I
but
didn't really think about this, and the only thing I could really think of is, obviously maybe there's some constraints with the Switch because I know it does come out on
mm,
PC, but this is really a Nintendo Switch title, so
yeah.
there could be some constraints with the Switch or just the ability to jump back and forth from 3D.
Oh,
Like if
leaving one somebody in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, like once one player is still in the book and one player jumps out of the book, like it could cause some
Yeah.
system
And then
haywire.
also the turn of the page.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like leaving somebody on the other page. Yeah. Okay. See, now that kind of connecting the dots makes a little bit more sense. And
The simple fix with it though, and guys, if you guys see this, the simple fix is just have player one control the aspect ratio. So when
yeah.
player one jumps out of the book, everybody comes with. You know
Yeah.
what I
And
mean? And
that's
when
how
player
that's how they did it with early Lego games too. Like wherever player one was, it would like glitch player two out and like log them out almost and bring them to player one. So I
yeah,
mean, that would definitely, that's a way that would make it work that way.
just force them out, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. It's like catch up. Come on, quit being so slow.
But yeah, I totally agree. Maybe it's something that they bring in the future. It'd be cool if they did bring it in the future. One last thing that I wanted to say too, is that I don't know if you guys saw this, but in the trailer, there's they look like Pokemon cards. Did you see there's like that chick on the Pokemon card,
Yeah, yeah.
and then he jumped in the card and it turned into turn-based combat like Pokemon. I thought that was really interesting because this game's actually co-directed by James Turner, who was the art director on Pokemon Sword and Shield. So he does have a little bit of like Pokemon love, obviously. So it's almost like they threw like a tiny little Pokemon game within this game too. Because when you jump into the cards, the cards look just like Pokemon cards.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's really fun.
They really do. And when you jump into the cards, the combat goes turn-based like Pokemon. So I thought that was really interesting. It's almost like a Pokemon mini game inside the game.
Definitely. I'm really excited about this one. This is one that, again, this comes out September. Oh, I have it here. September 17th. So next week. By the time you watch this, it will be out already. So
Now we got 7 days.
yeah, 7 days. This episode will be definitely out before then. But as you watch the single topic, it would definitely be out by then.